and the Vikings. Can SPT pull something out of their hats here as well, Tetcher?
Well, there's only one way to find out, but first let's see what the maps are. There was no ban on Battlefield of Eternity, but SPT choosing to go to Dragonshire first.
Yeah, Dragonshire, of course, is a very interesting map. A lot of early game rotations and really, really good map to go into the late game, right? You can go for heroes like Nazeebo. You can go for the likes that need level 20 and later to really shine. And if you don't make any grave mistakes, if you know how to defend against the Dragon Knights very well, that should be very much achievable.
We'll have to see. As you can see right now, 1-1 for ESTAR. They've already, when they played against CE on this map, I believe was their loss. Seeing as that's the only map they have actually lost so far in this season. Whereas SPT, they're very comfortable on this map as well. This and Battlefield seem to be their top maps.
Yeah, super solid. 5-0. SPT definitely knows how to play on this map, and that might be the explanation why they chose it first here. Now, without further ado, guys, let's dive right into the draft and take a look at what these teams have to offer. Are we going to see the standard bans on the Genji, on Uther, on Anubarak, or are we going to see something tailored specifically for their opponents? Because when you have two teams that face each other at the same skill level, you can almost guarantee that they scrimmed against each other at some point, so they might know each other's strengths and weaknesses very well.
Potentially, but here is actually seeing the win rate that SPT have on Dragonshire. This could be where these 2 zeros are coming from the analysts, because the theme in China by almost all teams, including ESTAR, is when you lose and have the option to pick map or first pick, you pick first pick. So Super Perfect Team might just be taking the first, just be taking advantage of that by having a couple maps, in this case Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity, that they're exceptionally good at, and just taking advantage of that, because they know they're always going to get to choose the map, basically.
Yeah, very good point. Very solid point. I actually didn't take that into my considerations here. Map choice, of course, a very important choice, a very important thing to decide on. And so far, SPT going for all the right choices here. Looking super solid in Dragonshire. We see a Dahaka opening on the side of ESTAR, securing themselves a little bit of global mobility. Are they going to see an immediate Falster response? Maybe some Viking play, which I still would love to see in Dragonshire. We saw it in Europe last season quite a bit, and to pretty good success, actually. But it wouldn't surprise me to see the likes of Anubarak first. This match is just too important to miss out on any of those really, really important picks. Now they're taking their sweet time.
So many of these picks. Malfael coming in for the second time by SPT this time. And of course they get the Anubarak, one of those many, many, very long list of top priority heroes now.
Yeah, Hots Lady previously in the first series of the day was able to execute Malfael pretty well, despite a couple of hiccups here by Lias, their Malfael player. They still were able to win the game in the end, because Malfael is just a beast. He offers so much. He brings so much to the table. You have anti-healing if requested. Against double support, for example, that would be a great choice. He has strong objective damage. He can deal with almost any objective single-handedly. He has great solo laning. And of course, great threat against many warriors in general. So already against the Oriel, I want to see some Touch of Death, man, at level 7. I want to see that anti-healing synergy with the Tormented Souls.
I would agree. That sounds like a marvelous idea. Reduce that healing from Ariel and really punish the Valor, and then just remove stuff that synergizes with her. It's exactly what they're doing. Remove that Tassadar straight away.
Yes. I like this. I like this quite a bit, because shields are pretty powerful on the Valor these days, and Tassadar's win rate, we saw it earlier, is still above 60%, right? So despite getting yourselves a nice, comfortable draft with Malfael and Anubarak, there's still that threat that Tassadar poses, and getting rid of him is really, really solid. Now, you can see that Cassia ban. I think it's not the first time we see the Cassia ban. That really tells us that ESTAR wants to go. They want to fully commit to this double support Vala style. So you want to get rid of blinds. You want to get rid of anything that can resist their greatest DPS source, the Vala. And Cassia as such is just a really golden ban in my opinion. Super solid.
Really marvelous choice by ESTAR. Both these teams right now, this is some of the best drafting I have seen overall. They're just playing into and against each other. Question is, what are you going to see from the rest? SPT bringing out some global potential to try and counteract that Dahaka in the form of Falstad, and prioritizing the Malfurion. No cleanse, so maybe some high CC tanks. from ESTAR might be good to finish up, or at least one, and then that second support, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of warriors left available that are really stacked on that CC. Arthas comes to mind, right? The Holding Blast, the slows. Muradin, of course, can land those deadly storm balls, which Dehaka can then capitalize on to have an easy lick. So let's see which route they're going to go for here. Falstad, despite not having the strongest of win ratios, he's still a formidable hero. We saw that earlier. The Gust can be used in many different ways. The counter global, of course, against Dehaka, really, really useful. And I gotta say, okay, here comes the Tyrael.
Angel. All three angels in this game.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Tyrael making its way in. I like it. Extra protection for Valor, even if they don't get another support.
Come on, Brew, you gotta go for the Angelic Valor now, too, to match the theme. Just can't go for the Cowgirl. Alright.
There is the Alarak to come in. So they are going for the single support, but Tyrael acting as a sort of mini support to give extra assistance. I would say this is likely going to be a sacrification build as opposed to a judge build.
My.
That might change that, though. The Chromie SPT.
Alright, so keep in mind, you know, Malfurion lacking the cleanse is, of course, a really golden opportunity for Tyrael to go Judgment, because it can't just be denied very easily. However, now with the Chromie burst, the Falstad damage, the Malthael damage initiation, the CC provided by a Nubrek, Sanctification all of a sudden gains a lot more, you know, value, and it's probably going to be a lot more attractive for them to utilize it. Tetcher, solo tank Tyrael into a double support Vala plus Alrek. How much do you like that, the draft by ESTAR?
It's an interesting draft in general. They have single support, single tank.
Sorry, yeah, solo support Oriel, my bad.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, they have double tank. Sorry, yeah, my bad too. It's a very interesting comp, very peculiar, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you look at it, there's nothing super that stands out and says, no, this draft is wrong. This is, overall, a solid draft to play against what Super Perfect Team had already picked, but Super Perfect Team's last pick has put everything a bit up into question, because the Sanctification would have been really good with this. But now, Judgment can be denied, like you said, but it's still a great tool for trying to at least get onto that Chromie, because the Chromie is such a big threat now.
What I like about SPT's draft a little bit more compared to ESTAR's is that they actually pick counters. They picked the Chromie, which is so good against the Oriel because of all that long-range poke threatening the Vala. They picked the Anubrek. You can put the Cocoon on the Oriel as well to really take her out altogether. It's just that, to me, SPT has more counters to what ESTAR brought to the table than the other way around. But we're going to see if that comes to fruition here, because both teams are going to face each other for the very first time here in the season on Dragonshire. The new ESTAR. Go for it, Tetris, sorry. Go for it.
And ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left-hand side. Like Kendrick said, it's the new ESTAR with Tumi playing on the Tyrael. China #1 on Ariel. Good on Vala. Kid on the Alarak. And Ooze is on the Dehaka.
Look at all those happy and sad clouds. Easily the best mounts that Blizzard has ever released, in my personal opinion. Their opponents for this series: SPT looking strong throughout the season. We have Quinn Zhao on the Chromie, Melody C on Falstad, Misaka, their main tank on Nubrek, Wings on Malthael, and ZZH, last but not least, is going to support his team on the Malfurion. Now, I'm really worried about Auriel not really being a factor here, Tetcher. The Cocoon, the poke from Chromie, it's going to be a very rough match for her, I feel.
Temporal loop with no cleanse.
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of threats onto Ariel here. I think this still has to be a sacrification game, just to give some semblance of protection. Nice poke by Chromie there, hitting 2 heroes. But Ariel able to heal it up quite easily this time. Looks like we're going to have Alarak as the solo laner. No, looks like they're going to go with the 4-man rotation. Oh no, he is solo lane. He's just 2.
Yeah, they're going for the rotations here. Very, very nice. But already you can see the threat from Chromie, man. Landing those Dragon Breaths like an absolute champion here. Really, really well done. And I just gotta say, this is going to be such an interesting game. Now, let's see. There's some early aggression coming in here. Kid trying to chase down, but I think one misstep here on the side of ESTAR or SPT, since both teams have so much damage early on, can really be the difference between life and death, quite literally. Now, no surprise talents here, really. Seasoned marksman for fall set here. Really, really nice to go for the auto attack damage, in my opinion. Now, Malthael, he changed the build a little bit compared to the previous ones. He did not go for the movement speed. He goes for the longer range on his... Okay, Melody C. There we go. On his W, excuse me.
Indeed. Not able to... Yeah, extra movement speed could be useful here. We will see how well that works. What's with Tyrell's name?
Excuse me?
What's with Tyrell's name? It's not ESTAR to me like the rest of them.
He does have a Chinese name, or what's the matter?
It's a Chinese name. Check it when he next appears. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird.
Maybe he had to use a different account. Yeah, and the moment we speak of it...
Substitute player? They'd show it if it's a substitute player, surely.
No, I don't think so. I think we would have seen it otherwise, right? Was it?
Maybe?
It was Toomey in the team overlay, right? In the team sheet.
It was in the team overlay and everything else. So unless it's just not being displayed properly, then then I do not know.
Maybe he had to use a different account, like a tournament account or something, because his own account was acting up.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
If anyone can find evidence for that, then please, if anyone has evidence for exactly what is going on with that, please chuck that my way on Twitter so that I have some, with a source, please cite your sources.
Yeah. And the 10 normally, like a number on your account's nickname normally indicates that it's one of the player 1, 2, 3, 4, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
so maybe it's one of those generic accounts. But for now, we're going to focus on the game, guys. We see nothing out of the ordinary here in terms of talents builds. We see bronze talents on the side of Chromie. Of course, she gains access to new talents much more quickly. Now we see the Dragon's Breath. Really interesting here. Super solid. Ooh, took a little bit of damage in the process here already.
We've always had that issue of how do you lane against a hacker. Turns out, you just play Malthael. Just play percentage damage and just kind of win, which is exactly what he's doing. Also, Dahaka, that is the regen talent of level 1. So yeah, he is going for a more tanky build as opposed to a speedy build.
Yeah, so no race card Dahaka. It makes a lot of sense though, because oh my goodness, China #1 gets blown out of his angelic socks here. Fantastic coordination between Misaka and Quan Zhao, using those stuns and following it up with a nice QW combo. First blood goes over to SPT. Never mind, I was lying. There was already a first blood that I forgot about.
Yeah, that was the kill a little bit earlier on. An attempt on the mercenary by ESTAR. SPT absolutely none of it. They want kills too. They get the kill. Now can they take the cap as well? The Giant gets taken down. The cab is taken. Now can Misaka get out? Dropping so low. No healing it's for ZZH, and as such taken down. 1 kill for 1, but the camp is stolen.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade, you get the objective. In that case, it was the Siege Giant camp, so worth it on the side of SPT. Look at good now. He's going to have to spend precious seconds dueling those Siege Giants rather than, you know, staying in lane and helping his support out. And that actually makes sure that Chromie gets to hold the bottom temple even longer. Now, they changed the laning setup. Turiel went to the top. Apparently, Dahak was like, nope, I'm down with facing that one Angel. You better take on your colleague there, Turiel. Maybe you're going to have a better shot at it. Now, ZZH, though, careful. Needed to get really close. Is he going to pay for it, though?
ZZH still surviving here, and like I said, everyone from ESTAR went very far in to try and grab an extra kill here, and as such, potentially just lost their opportunity to actually grab the Dragon Knight.
Ooh, that was very close there. I mean, they're basically just trading possession over both temples here. No, never mind. That is the first temple loop of the game, and see you later. That was exactly what we wanted to see here. That's why Oriel struggles against Chromie so much, because that blow potential, unless she has the Crystal Aegis, there's nothing she can do about it.
Yeah, and they have 2 whole levels before that Crystal Aegis is close to available. Nice burrow by Ooze as he attempts to find an escape route, turning onto Wings, but he's dropping so low, attempting to play with Vision, but the teleport from Wings too much, and they're able to grab another kill, as well as Alarak also getting killed off somewhere else.
Wow, that was just 10 HP left, and so close as well. You're playing with fire here. Oh my goodness, Turiel almost going to fall here. And this early game couldn't have gone any better for SPT. They're winning the top lane, they're winning the bottom lane, and if you're losing the side lanes and you can't maintain control over the shrines, you're probably going to have to give control over to the enemy team for the Dragon Knight here. So Misaka already destroying the towers and immediately rotating. He wants to get as much value as humanly possible. I like it.
I like it too, as the Dragon Knight grabbing more towers. Not even ammo available here. Ooze not even going to drop a stun to prevent this. Just clearing the lane, burrowing to prevent the tackle. As Kid, oh, Alarak, Brutus down, Focus is down, good Discord strike, telekinesis, but the poison from Malphael, the percentage damage is enough to get the kill.
Shout out to Dogray in the chat, by the way, who just informed us that apparently ESTAR is playing with a sub here. So Toomey didn't feel well today. He's sick. Yeah, if that could be confirmed, that would be amazing.
I would tweet at Tetra with a source for that information, and then I will happily agree with it. Otherwise, it is just
yeah. If it ends up being true, but Dogray is normally a person who we can trust on the Asian scenes. He's got really good knowledge. Yes, so
I do agree with that, but best to get into good practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. No fake news here today.
Tyrael teleporting out after scouting out the rotation there. Heroics available now for both teams, like we said. It is the Sanctification and the Crystal Aegis, so double protection against this Chromie.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, SPT is turning on the heat here. They're taking objective after objective. They're not wasting any time whatsoever. They're already at a comfortable 2-level lead here, also gaining access to the next talent here much more quicker. Now, you see the protection here for Chromie. That's the timeout. She can now use an Ice Block-esque ability to protect herself against all that onslaught from Dehaka. Flank from Alarak too. And Ooze, speaking of Dehaka, he's probably going to have to say goodbye.
Bye. Oh, goodbye! He tunnels out!
That was not what I...
Get outplayed Kendrick!
Okay, well, he took my advice literally, and sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Did. You weren't wrong. Well played. Nice escape by Dehaka. He gets out. But SPT still holding down the lead at the moment, using that Dragon's Breath to begin clearing out this mercenaries.
Sometimes, you know, when surrounded by a couple of mean-looking bad guys and enemies, you just have to peace out. And here we go, another teamfight coming in.
Yeah, Chromie timing out though, 10 seconds worth of Ice Block, but a perfectly timed Discord strike, and Chromie gets deleted. The Aegis keeping Ariel alive for the moment. She's not in a good place. She's taking keep damage. She goes down. Alarak drops as well as Malphael cleaning up here. And that is going to be a 4-for-2 trade in favor of SPT.
Now, boys and girls, if you have ever had your doubts about Touch of Death, the level 7 talent, and the Tormented Souls at level 10, the AoE healing reduction by 50% just single-handedly dismantled ESTAR, who got an early pick on the Chromie. That is a huge source of damage here for SPT, but still, look at the Malphael. He was completely ignored, and here comes the anti-healing. Look at it. 1, 2, 3 people currently not getting full healing value by Oriel, and that is just the power of the Archangel of Death and his colleagues, you know, the Tyrael, the Oriel. They're just gonna have to say, well, you're the superior model. You were released later. You seem to be pretty ahead of us.
Yeah, and SPT right now in a dominant position. This is starting to make me slightly believe the substitute, because the substitute rumor, but either way, substitute or not, SPT currently in a thriving position, pushing down the mid lane. Misaka getting David striked there. The rewind is down, trying to blow up Tyrael of all people, but Tyrael does survive.
Yeah, and I totally forgot about the roots here coming in from Malfurion as well. That's additional healing reduction. The level 7, the roots are so good. So they shut down Oriel in many, many ways. And it's just so hard for Oriel, who's struggling in the first place against Malphael and Chromie, to really unleash her full value. No double support available, so she's going to be the only hope, quite literally, to keep her teammates alive. No pun intended.
It really is. Like I said, she is a big hope here. Tyrael might be able to help a little, but not enough. Unless you want to drop Sank on a on a combo that is a far shorter cooldown than your Sanctification.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be trouble. Ooze trying to buy himself some time with the drag. He will actually make it to his team here, and SPT not wanting to chase any deeper, but ESTAR attempting to close in, create the pins. A good disco strike, 2 members. Nice counter strike as well to block the Chromie damage. The Cocoon is dropped though. Ariel trying to kill it off, but it's Ariel. That takes a very long time, but so far no kills. Malthael from behind though, even Silence does not care. With the Sanctification drop though, his damage is reduced, but Valor and Dahaka are already dead. This is a massacre. Rewind. Tyrael's back. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, no more Ice Block now!
No!
He tried to mount up, which is actually a very nice reaction to it, and I think that would have been the only way to potentially get out of the explosion by Tyrael. Now, congratulations to Melody C. He has now officially participated in 100 takedowns throughout his HGC career, man. That is a very impressive feat. But SPT as a whole, they're looking mighty impressive here, really executing their team comp to the fullest. The healing reduction, the crowd control, everything is just on point, and that's why they're so far ahead with a 2-level lead.
Very nicely done indeed. Melody C taking out that mid fort with a little bit of poke and help of the minions. As super perfect team, 2-level lead, 1 talent lead right now. They are in full control of this game, currently moving up to that top shrine to attempt to take control of that and grab themselves a second Dragon Knight.
And Malthael, by the way, he's going for a full passive build. He's using the Ethereal Existence, level 13, which basically gives him a little bit more physical armor against the Vala for every target affected by his passive. And at level 16, of course, we have the Memento Mori, which causes the passive to tick even harder after applying it for a certain amount of time. Now, combine that with a touch of death. They're all about applying Malthael's poison and reducing the healing value, and of course causing so much more damage. And I think it's just the right way to go. They're already struggling against Chromie, make them struggle even harder with all that passive goodness that Malthael brings to the table.
Indeed, as we see Melody C moving on to that bottom lane, taking out these towers very nicely with that Dragon Knight. They still have Siege Giants down here too, and the gank has been scouted. Rewind is denied this time. Timeout used by Chromie
Big
to prevent Alarak from getting the damage, and Alarak is getting shredded. Good sanctification though. The turnaround could be happening, and it's Malthael who's blown up, denied by the Sanct.
I can't believe that was a last-second save here with that golden sanctification, really saving Alarak, who's already sitting at 5 HP. And that single-handedly changed the entire pace of the team fight. Well done also preventing the temporal loop from getting Vala, using your own Crystal Aegis to counter that process. So nice comeback attempt here by ESTAR. They're still not dead yet. They're ready to fight, and all keeps are still standing. And it is Dragonshire, ladies and gentlemen. This is a late-game map. If ESTAR starts to take buildings themselves, if they start to stabilize right now, all the cards are still left available for them to win this game.
They are, but what a beautiful play by ESTAR to get that counter. I also loved how Valor was actually chasing 4 people basically by herself, got hit by 1 Chromie Q and was like, yeah, this might not be the best idea, and just turned back around and left. But either way, ESTAR bringing themselves back up. They're still 2 levels behind, but they're grabbing another fort. They're just farming all the XP they can find around the map.
So, Tetcher, that 16 talent by Malfurion is very interesting. I've never seen it in competitive play. It's Revitalize, and it actually causes your trade to basically give a little bit of mana back to Malfurion. And also, its cooldown reduction is pretty much applied 20% faster. So, more spam in mana for the healer himself. After removing the passive mana regen from Twilight Dream, I think this is oftentimes a really, really useful talent, don't you think?
That's pretty multiple. Hang on. Denied. Nice done.
Saved. Okay.
Burned. But yeah, that's a really cool talent. I've not seen it either. Like, we usually end up seeing the Tenacious Fruit, and on a very odd occasion, Ysera's Gift.
True.
Revitalized. First time I've seen it as well. So cool. That's going to allow Malfurion to just keep spamming those heals even more and spamming the Roost even more. He's just a spam bot now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Storm Shield at level 20 is something we get to see a lot more, because especially against those AoE heavy damage type of heroes like the Vala or... Okay. Oh, Epic Mount to the rescue.
Yeah, level 20.
That is huge,
Epic
actually.
Mount for Falstad, and now they have the Dragon Knight. They didn't lose Falstad. SPT back in control, moving into the bot lane.
That's actually huge, because Falstad baited and lured almost 3 heroes from ESTAR to the top lane. Dahaka, Tyrael, and Alarak. they all had to teleport back manually, which gives SPT so much time to rotate towards the opposite lane, towards the bottom, and get some strong damage on that keep already. And keep in mind that once you start taking out keeps here, the game is going to go much smoother for you. The Dragon Knight also, after 15 minutes and 40 seconds, so much tankier than before, and they only have Vala to really deal with him. And look at the team from SPT. They're not willing to take any risks. They don't want to force the fight until they got the keep now. The Dragon Knight is very weak at team fighting, guys, so don't force the issue too much. Oh,
and once again, good. Even though it is a big cooldown to burn, these Aegises have been on point to deny that temporal loop. Misaka being forced back. Neither team losing a member here, but that's still the first keep of the game.
Also, I gotta say that Melody sees Gus didn't really hit anyone, so I see what they tried to do there, right? They tried to isolate the target caught by the temporal loop, but unfortunately there were 2 cooldowns burned without getting anything done, and only 1 on the side of ESTAR. So those are the small victories they really need to have in order to stabilize, to buy themselves more time, to get 20. So well played with those Crystal Ages so far. Really, really well done.
Indeed, really enjoying it. Has been used very efficiently. But even though they blew out 2 heroics, like you said, we still have Cocoon, we still have the Tormented Souls, and we still have Twilight Dreams. Heroics that are still potentially game-changing.
Now on the bottom lane for ESTAR, we see that this is basically the only lane where they were able to knock out a Fortress yet. So even if they get like a full 5-man team wipe without losing too much themselves, I don't think they would have enough time yet to really get to the core. So they really need to start stabilizing. They really need to get more building value. Oh my god, the AoE!
The Red Isolation!
Oh!
Red Isolation from Ooze. Cocoon is already. No one actually died. They're actually able to escape as good. It's focused out. Aegis keeps him alive though as they're turning in the top area up to Valfurion. Not able to land a Discord strike though, but he's completely isolated on his own. Taken out. And ESTAR able to pick up a kill.
Oh my god. I actually think Malphite died. He just used his 20 talent immediately, didn't he? It could be just me being wrong then though, but I think he actually got blown up. I think Malphite died and used his 20 talent to immediately respawn.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah. I saw someone die and I was like, wait, no, on the tops. Yeah, that makes sense.
Whew. But sometimes all you need to land is just 1 isolation, and guess what? After the 20 upgrade, it affects everyone in the target's vicinity, and that was exactly what they needed. Alrek though getting blown up to pieces now as well. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it is a 4 versus 4, and the Nubrek is not letting go.
He didn't even use Counter-Strike though. Malphael moving forward, trying to find his opportunity. Here comes the Tormented Souls. Trying to look for the target, but he was stunned down, so he couldn't use that health regen. He's got all the anti-heal though, as the damage slowly ticks, but they're not able to get themselves a kill.
Alright, ESTAR, I think that was the most insane Dahaka ulti I have ever seen. I have to agree with Twitch chat, who's basically going bananas right now, and rightfully so. Now, this fight was actually more beneficial to SPT now because they got the kill later on the Alrex. So a longer death timer. Oh no, the staggered deaths are continuing here. The Cocoon shows the Cocoon. Okay.
Aegis and death.
Still dead.
Quite frankly, goodbye. Oh, no. That's 2 kills going over. 3 kills actually if you count Alarak still being dead. Whilst they're flying down, Tyrael was able to be out of there, so he is able to escape.
Perfect.
And Dahaka will deny this Dragon Knight.
Is he going to be fast enough though? Yes, he will be fast enough. Very nicely done. Oz buying a couple of precious seconds here, but in the meantime, their base is under siege, and that was a random sanctification.
I don't think it was random because the temporal loop was burned, but he just didn't know how many people were there, so didn't want to die if Falstad was there as well for the extra blow-up potential. So it's unfortunate that it's gone, but he's still alive, and with 2 heroes dead, you need every person possible alive.
Looks like they want to have Malthael in the Dragon Knight. I can understand that move because Nubrak is a little bit more important when it comes to attacking the base and threatening the core because of that Cocoon, right? You can take out an enemy team member, which turns it into a 4 versus 5. And this is going to be much more important than Malthael providing a little bit of extra damage. And keep in mind, his trait doesn't work on buildings anyway. So Nubrak definitely the more valuable target to have out of the Dragon Knight. Really, really good coordination, even in the thick of things by SPT. Really, really loving it.
Yeah. Dragon Knight being ignored. They're attempting to get a kill so they can at least fight on even footing with everyone alive. They've zoned out the entire team. It's now just the Dragon Knight hunting Valor away, who's moving back in, trying to focus on Falstad, who was dragged in by Dahaka. The strafe gets the kill. Now they have in a 4 versus 5. The advantage in favor of ESTAR, but the Dragon Knight working it down the court. Temporal loop, no follow-up damage. Dahaka denying it. Very high health bar. The Dragon Knight is being ignored, and that is GG. And Super Perfect Team will take game number 1.
Well played by the red team, by Super Perfect Team. I just can't stress enough how important it was to have a Nubarek outside of the Dragon Knight and to cocoon Vala. We have seen this in the past, that teams prioritizing the wrong targets for a cocoon when it comes to defending the core, right? Or even attacking the core, in both scenarios. Vala was the greatest DPS source ESTAR could muster. She was basically the one target that could have maybe stopped the Dragon Knight by hitting him continuously. Taking her out, stunning her the moment she left the cocoon was super important to make sure that the victory was actually theirs. And I just gotta highlight how well SPT played throughout the game. A couple of misplays here and there, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, they just played a fantastic game, One Tenture.